Big exciting news as we go into the last 20 days before the election, and all eyes are on Steve Mnuchin. With a deal offer that's really good, bigger checks, bigger FPUC, more money for you. And what else do we have? Well, we have someone writing that the Steve Mnuchin's offer is not good enough because it doesn't have money for the census. The who? The census. That's senseless. Why does the census need stimulus relief? The census is, that's sort of senseless. Clear your nose. You need better census for this. Who wrote this silliness? Oh, it's Carolyn Maloney, the one that chases the postman around. I guess, I guess a Jackie Holland's novel hasn't been released this week. She's looking for another scandal. But, it's only Wednesday. Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Evenings LALATE, and a great night in which we have great news across the board with a great stimulus offer, a great focus with bigger stimulus checks, bigger FPUC, and it's all right there. And there's renewed focus as all eyes are on one man and one proposal, Steve Mnuchin. Go to the Funnest channel, subscribe, because we're going to have great news across this entire broadcast. 262,000 subscribers. Thank you. We're heading for, excuse me, what did I say, 262? 292. That's Larry Kudlow math. There's two people on set here. Did you not notice that's Larry Kudlow math? 292,000 subscribers, heading for 300. Let's do it. Also, like this video. In this video, I'll be going over a lot of big developments. First, the incredible amounts that Steve Mnuchin's offering you for these stimulus checks. Second, the possibility of multiple stimulus checks. Third, the issue about unemployment and why it's important to get everything queued up right now because the unemployment could hit right away. Third, grants. Money, money, money. Fourth, timeline. It's so important to understand the timeline that's involved with the next couple of 20 days before the election. Fifth, what's going on now? And sixth, what's happening Monday with Mitch? Boy. And coming up after this is Purple Power, so stay tuned for that big broadcast. If you did not see the sort of repurposing... Did I just say repurposing? I'm not repurposing myself. Refocusing of this channel today was to really get you laser focused on where you need to be. And if you did not catch it on Afternoons LA, I said, you know what? I'm tired of reporting on false narratives from Larry Kudlow about how the economy is in a V-shaped recovery. I'm tired of reporting false narratives about science and children going hungry. And what's that other catchphrase? I don't know. Give me a bigger hairstyle from the Temple of Doom. It's time to really focus on true stuff and not fake stuff. And it's important to focus on your stimulus check and stimulus package. So going forward, I'm not going to talk on stuff that is simply untrue, that people really know is untrue. Among the things that we're not going to be talking about that we know are illogical is Mitch McConnell's introduction next coming Monday to the Senate of a bill that's basically the bill that he introduced 3 or 4 weeks ago. In fact, Broadcast News is now panning his efforts next week. They're calling it purely ceremonial, purely for political theater, because it's a bill that no one supports. It's not going to get approved. It's not going to be signed by the White House. Remember, to get a vote, to get a law, to get a bill to become a law, it has to be passed the Senate, it has to pass the House, and signed by the President. So Mitch is introducing a bill that's contrary to the President, contrary to the House. So what's the purpose of doing it? The purpose of doing it is to get himself reelected. We all understand it. So we're not going to give him any more focus than we have to. Let's focus on the great news. And the great news is bigger stimulus checks and potentially multiple stimulus checks. First, Steve Mnuchin's offer. Let's go over the deal terms. Really good. $1,200 stimulus checks individuals. Okay, that's unchanged. $2,400 married couple. Okay, that's also unchanged. But adult dependents. $1,200. Incredibly great news. These are my viewers on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans. These are people who didn't get a first stimulus check because you were dependent on someone else's tax return. We've been talking about this for weeks. I've been saying you're going to get a stimulus check. I explained to you why you didn't get a first stimulus check. When I first started recording these videos, people said, I didn't get a stimulus check because I'm on SSDI, and they just don't want to give a stimulus check to me because I'm on SSDI. I said, no, that's not true. What happened under the first stimulus package is they wrote a very bad provision that said, if you're an adult dependent, you don't get a stimulus check. So some people who are on SSDI and are adult dependents, they appear on someone else's tax return, got disqualified. They didn't get a stimulus check. It's not fair. Whereas someone, perhaps your neighbor, is also on SSDI but is not a dependent on someone else's tax return, they did get a stimulus check. This time around, Steve Mnuchin makes it easy, very simple. Easy breezy. $1,200 all adults. I'm an adult. Okay, you're an adult. You get $1,200. Well, I'm an adult, but I don't need to hear the but. You still get $1,200. But I'm an adult with a really bad hairstyle. You still get $1,200. But I eat really expensive ice cream. You still get $1,200. Well, there is an exception. If you make too much money, if you make Nancy Pelosi money, you don't get a stimulus check. So this is incredibly great news. Next, children. $1,000. Yes, $1,000. This is higher. So for the first time ever, the president is offering a more generous check than the Democrats in two regards. First, the child. The child is $1,000 under Steve Mnuchin's plan. This is incredibly great news. The Democrats, only $500. Next, adult dependents, what I just talked about, $1,200. Democrats, $500. It's just absolutely incredible. So if you're a single mom and you got 4 kids, how much are you going to get? You're going to get $1,200 for yourself, and then $1,000 for the 4 kids. So you'll get $5,200. Husband and wife with 1 kid, how much do you get? $1,200, $3,400. Really great news. Not taken out for child support, not taken out for Social Security, taken out for debt collection, not taken out for taxes. All really great news. Next, enhanced unemployment benefits, $400 a week. And what's great about it is it's further out. What needs to be tinkered with it, it should go back further. It's going back to September. I always forget the date. September 12th, I think. September 13th. It should go back to July 25th. And this is what politicians generally do to you, is when they don't get to things right away and they get to them months later, then they're like, oh, well, just do it back a few weeks. No, we've been waiting for this since July. Oh, well, you know. So it should go to late July, but it doesn't. Instead, it goes out further into the future, which means you get more weeks. You get more weeks of coverage, which ultimately is a big question a lot of viewers ask me. Hey, LALATE, how many more weeks do I have? How many more weeks do I have? Well, FPUC, you're now going to mid-January. This is incredibly great news, $400 a week. Now, it's a pure $400. Let me make that clear as well. The Problem Solvers bill, which was $450 for 8 weeks and then 5 weeks to $600, it had a complex calculation. The one that I always say I'm not going over in this video because it's too complex. Well, this one's a pure $400 a week offer. Incredibly great news. $300 for staying local. So all that is just incredible. Then there's this. I just have to have a laugh. Carolyn Maloney, you remember her? You remember Carolyn Maloney? Rhymes with baloney. She's the one that wrote the postal bill about the postman who's trying to steal your election. And it was so important we had to call all our House members back into Congress. And when they were there, they were asked, why aren't you doing a standalone bill for stimulus checks? Oh, no, don't ask that. Well, how about you doing a standalone bill for enhanced unemployment? Oh, no, we're here to do the postman because it's absolutely urgent, emergency, and it's absolutely urgent. And she wrote the bill and she got top praise for it. Well, she wrote the bill, got signed, and then that was it. It lasted about as long as the Mitch McConnell bill. It was just, 5 seconds, it was done. Well, guess what she says today? She says Steve Mnuchin's plan doesn't work because it doesn't give money to the census. To who? The census, not the Sixth Sense, not not your nostrils, not your eyes, not your ears, not those senses, the other senses. That's my accent. What does the census have to do with COVID-19, the pandemic? The census was around before the pandemic last time I checked, and the census will be around after the pandemic last time I checked. They're their own agency, so why are they in a stimulus bill for our stimulus checks? Carolyn, are you a little dizzy? Maybe she's confused because she chased the postman around. She's just sort of, a little bit dizzy from chasing the postman around. Really ridiculous. That's Carolyn Maloney for you. Unemployment, great numbers. Check, great numbers. Grants, I forgot your grants. Oh yeah, honey, I got some grants for you. EIDL, a frontline workers hazard pay-ish grants and more. There are grants galore. I think that's a store with really nice Tupperware. There's grants galore in the Mnuchin plan. There's one for frontline workers that's run by CDC. It does not make clear how much the money is, but it is a grant program. It's what you apply for, and it's given to you. Incredibly great news. And then there's a grant program for EIDL. Oh yeah, EIDL grants coming back. So if you are generally, let me make it very clear. It's not clear for the CDC one if you have to be an employee or an independent contractor or both, which one would qualify. EIDL grant, we know it is a non-employee. But the great news is that across the two of them, there's a lot of grants. The thing that you need to understand when I cover these different items for you is that none of them conflict. So you get all of them. It's not like you get to choose. It's not like, you're at a bad buffet and it's like, okay, which one do you want? No, you get a stimulus check and you get the grant, and you can also get unemployment benefits. Now versus another time. This is important to understand. I've been telling you, and this is why you got to watch Purple Power coming up right after this. It's so important to focus on timeline, because if you don't get something from this president before the election and he loses, will there be a stimulus package from this president between November and January 1st? I'd like to hear your comments below. Drop them in the comments below. Here's my opinion. Absolutely not. Steve Mnuchin was actually asked today, what are you going to do if the president loses? He says, I would definitely not be your Treasury Secretary come January of next year. Well, that's sort of obvious. But it sort of shows like these people are ready to leave and the hearts beat, if they don't win. And so if people don't win, they generally don't do things. They generally just don't work because they're not getting paid. And even though they are still in office all the way to January 1st, they may ultimately say, hey, I'm gone in a few weeks. Have the next person take care of it. And that's not a good situation. The now I don't like for you, because ultimately the now could mean you may not get stimulus into your hands until March of next year. Yes, March of next year. How would that work? Well, basically, all the senators and House members who are elected on November don't come into office until January. Then when they come into January, they would start working on a bill. It could take weeks to work on the bill. The bill would then be passed. Then the bill has to set up agencies to fund, to administer this money. Like, let's use hazard pay, even though it's let's use rent. Rent is a good example. A rent program needs to set up the agency for the rent program, has to put the money in there. Then you have to apply for the rent program. Then they have to approve the application. Then they got to send you the rent money. I mean, in the case of rent, I've been talking to you about March. I think rent could be almost, June. I mean, these things take weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of time. Now, the great news is that I've been telling you for weeks that there's $150 billion sitting around, state and local, that you can go get. And the power of the purple is in full force. I had one really nice viewer last night who told me, big success story. She got it. She got it for herself. She got it for her friends and more. If you want to know about that grant and what happened and why it was so successful, tune into Purple Power coming up next. Finally, Mitch. Mitch. Do you have an itch for Mitch? I don't. What else does Mitch rhyme for? Yeah, it does rhyme with that. Mitch next week will be introduced in a standalone bill. Does not have stimulus checks in it. Has probably very bad FPUC at like $100 a week or 44 cents a week. Has liability protection for businesses. Has a lot of money for business, bailout. But for us, it's like, oh, this is not for you. This is, No, we just don't do that here in the McConnell's office. Well, guess what you should be doing? What you should be doing is ignoring it, as broadcast news is now doing. They're now calling it the whole event next week as just semantics, as just show, as just fake narrative. It's just, okay, you wrote a bill, congratulations. He's going to introduce the bill. It may not pass. It may pass. I think it won't even pass. But it doesn't make a difference either way because it's not going to be approved in the House. It's not going to be signed up by the President. It's going to be a bill that dies a quick death, just like Carolyn Maloney's postal bill. Are we worried about Carolyn Maloney's postal bill? No. So are we worried about Mitch's postmortem bill? No, we're not going to get depressed about it either. We're just going to ignore it. And with that, all eyes are still on Steve Mnuchin. That's how we refocus and stay focused on really what's winning and ignore everything that's sort of silly, like that stuff. Let me answer some of your incredible 1,900 comments from last night. Our government is so out of touch with the American people, Nancy doesn't care. Brian, Mitch is the only concerned about himself as not working for the American people. Very well said, Brian. Thank you for your comment. John Waddle, hate them all. April Lou, I'm just so tired of all this. Linda Blackburn, time to tweet at McConnell and tell him we don't accept his package. Alejandra Estrada, they're playing with people's lives. Time to vote them out. Margaret Cook, Nancy and Mitch think they will go down in history as Trump's fault. It won't. It will go down all in our 80s. Julio Roman, please, everyone in Kentucky, vote Mitch out. Evelyn Davis, let's just both vote Mitch and Nancy out of office. Chris Dennis, the government already has every penny that the American people make. The nerve that they make so many trillions off of us is too much stimulus. It's not the smartest man, but I know the mathematics. No, that's a great comment. The more stimulus into the economy, the better the economy. The more stimulus into the economy, the faster the economy rebounds. The slower the stimulus, the least amount of stimulus, the slower the economy rebounds over many, many years. Carlos Pena, even if Trump does executive order, we need Nancy and Mitch out. Lisa Marie, Mitch shouldn't be even driving the bus. Someone throw him off. Sandra Barber, he just assassinated billions of American people that are homeless. Adrian Larka, President Trump better not accept that bill from Mitch. He's not going to accept the bill. Carolyn Malio, this is exactly why they should have term limits for Mitch and Nancy. Amen. Coming up next is Purple Power. And tomorrow morning is the return of our new hits show, Early Mornings, LALATE. Every morning at 3 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a 1-hour show. It has a little bit of financial news and a little bit of throwback footage that gives you a motivation to get through the new day. With throwback footage that's still relevant because it gives you information about things like unemployment benefits and similar stimulus relief. So don't miss that tomorrow morning. Go to the Funnest channel, subscribe. We're a great community. Really a great, smart, educated, focused, and kind group of people. Also like this video. As always, stay informed, stay motivated, and stay smiling, and stay alive for more.